Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. When it was announced that Teofimo Lopez was going to fight Sandor Martin, the Spanish southpaw, very, very awkward. I thought, well, why is he picking him? Because since he lost to Cambosis, Lopez up at 140 now and moved up from lightweight. I mean, really, you want to be making statements, but you want to be, jam-packing that highlight reel and trying to regain some of your lost luster. And the last person you want to be fighting is Sandor Martin. Now, Martin, of course, beat Marky Garcia, and that was Garcia's last fight. And he beat him handily. And he looked very, very clever doing it. It wasn't the most entertaining fight, but yeah, he clearly won the fight. Could he do the same against Lopez? Well, I had this fight at the end of the fight. I had Lopez winning 95-94, and he lost a point because of a knockdown in the second round, where Sandor Martin, as awkward as they come, a southpaw, landed a check right hook, which clipped Teofimo Lopez on the top of the head, put him over. He wasn't hurt, but he got up. And he was fine. He was fine. The thing is, the controversy is that the same thing happened in the sixth round. I think it was the sixth round, where again Lopez, getting frustrated, overly eager, jumps in. There's a scuffing check right hook again from Martin, and Lopez fell to his knees. It was almost like a repetition of the first knockdown, but the referee said no knockdown. That was a slip. Well, it wasn't a clean punch that landed. I'm talking about the second one in the sixth round or whatever it was. It wasn't a clean punch that landed, but he did hit him. And Lopez went down on his knees. And now, if that had been called a knockdown, I would have had a draw on my card. And as it happens, one of the judges did have a win for Sandor Martin. I think it was I think he scored it 95-94. I think it was 1 point anyway. The other two judges had it for Lopez. One of them had it way too wide. I can't remember offhand. It was 117, 111 or 112. 117, 112, I think it was. And the other guy, there's a couple of points in it, I think. But look, this was a very, very awkward fight for Lopez. It wasn't tough because even though Martin was landing punches, it was a pure counter-punching display from Martin, whose defense was very, very good. But Lopez wasn't firing that many punches. He couldn't get into range. When he did get into range, he was slinging his individual shots. He's very, very fast, as always. Lopez hits very, very hard. But defensively, Martin was just too good, was stepping back. After the fight, during the interview, Lopez said, look, he wasn't just stepping back like once. He was stepping back twice, 2, 3 times. He was moving back consistently. And Lopez says, he was running. He wasn't really running, Martin, but I mean, he was desperate, as he always is, if you've seen him fight before, for the opponent to come to him so he could counter. He's a pure counter puncher, Sandor Martin. Almost never comes forward. He's the most awkward fighter to face. I mean, he's got 13 KOs out of 40 wins, and God knows how, because he must have fought some low-level opposition. He's from Spain, and he cut his teeth on the Spanish scene, and the Spanish scene isn't, there isn't a lot of depth there. But there's no doubt that Martin can really befuddle you and frustrate you, and that's what he was doing with Lopez. And after the fight, Lopez was very frustrated and said, he actually apologised. He said, this is a boring fight. I need a better dance partner. Well, if you'd seen Martin fight before, you'd know he's that type of fighter. He's a southpaw. He's as awkward as hell. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe Lopez thought, I can walk through this guy. Didn't you learn from the Cambosis fight? You can't do that with everyone. But I don't want to sound too harsh on Lopez, because he was being the one that was being proactive. He was being the one who was coming forward. He was being the one who was trying to instigate exchanges. And in America, of course, they like the aggression. So I'm not entirely surprised that he got the verdict. But you could make a case for Martin winning this fight. One of the judges did. And also, it's also noticeable, I mean, against a very light puncher, he was on the floor twice. I know the second one was called a knockdown. But the first one definitely was a knockdown, you know, and it just makes me wonder if someone with a lot more power could, I mean, obviously we've got Regis Prograis has recently won one of the belts. Him against Lopez, that'd be a good fight. I don't know what's next for Lopez. I didn't hear much of any consequence said or after the fight. There were no real suggestions. They just discussed the fight. It was not the most entertaining of fights. But Martin, he's a nightmare, absolute nightmare to fight. It doesn't surprise me at all that this was, shall we say, not the most exciting of fights. But it's a win for Lopez. You know, he can move on now, maybe fight someone where he can look spectacular. Sandor Martin, you know, the only other fight he's had since Mikey Garcia was the Jose Felix fight where he sort of whitewashed the guy. That was over in Barcelona. On a DAZN card, I think it might have been. But he will always give people problems. Whether he'll beat many world-class fighters like he did Garcia or not, I'm not so sure. The Americans don't like that style at all. Not just from an aesthetic point of view, but from a point-scoring point of view. This was a weird one. And interestingly, Martin must have been landing something because Lopez did have some abrasions on his, I think, around his left eye. A swelling across the bridge of the eye, the eyebrow, I suppose, and running down the side there. So clearly Martin did land punches, but getting judges to vote for you is a different matter. Yeah, what did you think of it? What did you think of this fight? Did you see it? I think it was a top-ranked card, ESPN card. And give me your opinions on it. Where is Lopez in his career at the moment? Because he seems to be coming back, but slowly. But I think we need to see a bit more flash and dash from him, a bit more of a statement, like when he was coming up to fight Lomachenko. And who's he going to fight next? Let me know what you think. Leave your opinions. This one's I'm a bit ambivalent about this one. I'll have to go away and think about it. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit the subscribe button. That helps us out massively. Hit the like button if you like the video. And of course, leave your comments below. Thanks as always for your time. And yeah, Teofimo Lopez. He's now 18 wins and only 1 defeat. And still a young man, still only 25. Is the takeover for real? Let me know what you think. Bye for now.